All right, everybody. Unhappy Friday. That's enough of that god-awful music. Coming to you live once again here, it is Unhappy and the MP. This time on a Friday night. That is my fault. My work schedule has been absolutely erratic for the better part of a couple of months. But anyways, we are powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family, as I lose my train of thought. We thank you for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume if that's necessary. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work on a Friday evening this late. Crack open a cold one because, God damn it, it is Friday. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to this week's hostage situation and look forward to another almighty weekend. What up, Mason? How you doing, brother?
Doing good, buddy. Unfortunate start to the week with the loss, and there's a lot to digest there. But there's a very exciting weekend of college football, and I'm excited to share a little passion project of mine today. So it's gonna be a very fun show. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so let me give you guys the rundown. So we'll jump right out of the gates here after the sponsorship, and we'll jump into just the college football playoff for a couple of minutes. We'll go at that for a few. Then we're going to take a small break. All right, we're going to try to start working in breaks a little bit, so that it's not just. Well, I'm trying to put a little bit of structure around things here. When we come back from that first break, though, Mason's going to give us a rundown on a project that he worked on and apparently continues to work on. I'm not going to divulge too much on that. We're going to let Mason run with that and explain all that to you. We'll take another break after that, and then we'll come back and talk about the absolute full-on fucking five-alarm disaster that is the Philadelphia Eagles offense. Figure we'll save that for last, because if we kick off with that now, there ain't going to be time for anything else, because I'll just sit here and rant and rave for an entire fucking hour. But anyways, so let's get right down to it. Everyone, Michelle's favorite part of the program. We are proudly sponsored by Cheerleader Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages, just minutes away from the sports complex. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980. Also offering free parking, a full menu, daily drink and food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. If you're wanting to get out and watch the birds or the Phils, but right now it's football season, and you don't want to sell a kidney or half your pancreas or whatever the hell other black market organs you can digest, head on over to Cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that is Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. Finally, folks, the bottom of the screen, as always, every week, scrolling along the banner, greenlegion.com. Folks, there's only 4 games left. You got the home game against the Raiders. I know there was a post earlier today. That tailgate is nearly sold out. It may already be at this point. So from there, you've only got one left. And that's the last game of the year against the Washington Commodes. So if your home tailgate is your thing and you're looking for a place to do that, jump on over to greenlegion.com. Click on Trips and Tailgates. Click on that final home tailgate of the year. Get yourself signed up and get out with the best damn way to do it, the Green Legion at 1100 Social, stateside live. If you're looking to get out on the road, there is a bus trip down to D.C. for the game against the Commodes. Tailgate on the way down, bus trip back up. It's a one-day thing. not your full-on, not the full-on debauchery that a lot of us see out on the road that Mason got to witness firsthand in Minnesota. But I've actually never done a bus trip before, so
I have.
I can't really. No, yeah, I've not done them. So because I don't live in the Philly area.
Me and my dad, we went to for my birthday. We went actually on a bus trip to go see Dawkins get inducted in Canton, and so we took
that's cool.
all the way across Pennsylvania right to Canton. It was a great time.
Yeah, I've never actually done the bus trip before. Again, I don't live in Philly, so I'm not going to fly to Philly to hop on a bus to go down to DC. It doesn't make any fucking sense, right? I mean, if Quimby asked me to, I would, but I'm not just going to do it on a whim. But you do have the game at Buffalo, so if you wanted to experience the final season at the Bills' current home, that's your last chance to do it to go see the Birds, right? And you can't pick a better way to experience Buffalo than December 28th.
Yep.
So you can hop on that trip. I think there's still openings available for that. Don't quote me on it, though. I haven't actually looked. But again, if that's your thing, greenlegion.com, trips and tailgates. Click on that Buffalo trip. If it doesn't say sold out, book away. And once again, folks, Green Legion, the longest tenured and the best in the business. You will not find a better way to do an away trip or a home tailgate. All right. Let's get down to it so we can get on through it here. Where the fuck am I? I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Here we go. Very good. All right. I forgot your spreadsheet opened in a separate web page window. So I'm where the hell is my college football playoff? Slight mention for Boner of the Week. I don't think there's anywhere else to go but Sharon Moore, the former now head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, who is incarcerated at this moment, I'm pretty sure. He's being charged with felonies, and I'm not going to go into it. So usually when had it stayed just the firing and some light, he was just having a thing with a staff member, we would have spent the first segment just ripping him to shreds. But now there comes to light harassment, abuse, and all of this other shit.
Yeah, it's personally very quickly.
The room knows, Lou Mancini, Keenan Harmon, Russ Taylor, all those guys that come in here with us every week. They know that when it gets to that level of shit, I don't give that guy his 15 minutes of fame, right? Even though small-time podcast, I got it. I get it. He's being discussed all over the nation on huge, huge outlets. But me personally, I find it wrong to give him any more airtime than he's already getting. So Boner of the Week for sure. We ain't going into a whole lot of detail about that knucklehead. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know what's going on already anyways. And it is ugly. The only way the Michigan Wolverines can become even more unlikable is if they went out and hired Brian Kelly to replace him. That would be the only way. So I'm quietly rooting for that because, I needed a reason to hate Michigan. But keeping with that same theme, we're going to jump right into the college football playoff here. So that got released on Sunday. All right. The results of Saturday led me to believe, and what I would have said would have been Indiana number 1, Georgia number 2, Texas Tech number 3, Ohio State number 4. So my first somewhat bone to pick, even though it's not that big a deal, is they only dropped Ohio State 1 spot. Right now, I get it. Very competitive Big Ten championship, but they only dropped them 1 spot. And the other 2 teams right behind them with buys are conference champions who won their conference championship in dominant fashion. Georgia smashed Alabama, and Texas Tech rolled over BYU. Right? So all the static about, BYU, this little Portnoy crap about how he's preaching for BYU. Shut up, dude. Just get out of here with that. BYU got boat raced. So then from there, I would have gone pretty much chalk. Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. No issues there at all. My big issue is Alabama. And I know that's gonna rub some people the wrong way, including your dad. But I don't understand how 3-loss Alabama, after getting annihilated in that conference championship. And I get it. They made their conference championship, but they got absolutely mauled.
Yeah.
That
It
game
was
was
not a good
never
game.
competitive. It was never. I loved it. Me and my buddy Josh were sitting right over here watching that game and a bunch of other shit too, like we do every weekend. And we were all about it. Drunk as a skunk, just hooting and hollering. Razzing Bama fans that we're friends with. So it was a fun evening. So my biggest axe to grind is with that one. Is Bama at number 9. Personally, I think it should have gone Miami 9, Notre Dame 10, and then go ahead and put your 2 group of 5 conference champions in it, well, which is Tulane and James Madison. I don't know what your thoughts were with that, but the Ohio State thing, they still have it's not that big a deal. I just felt it was a little fucked up because the other 2 you got conference champions there. But that Bama thing, dude, and that's the only game on Friday night. Next Friday night, and it's Bama, Oklahoma at 8:00 on ESPN. And you better believe I am sitting here rooting for the Sooners, dude.
See, I could definitely touch on those 2 things. First, let's get the lighter one out of the way. Ohio State going to 2. I can kind of see the argument for both sides here. Ohio State did lose, but they didn't lose by much. It was really just a 1-possession game. It was 13-10, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, and so we could talk about that game too if you wanted to. I mean, Indiana's defense came out really well and really kind of helped them bring out the win there. So a little bit of what we talked about last week. Georgia cleaning the floor with Alabama. I think there's a strong case that you could bump Georgia to 2 potentially, but I think if Ohio State lost by worse, if Ohio State lost 20-10, I think you see Ohio State at 3, and I think you see Georgia at 2. But being that it was so close, I don't really have too much of bones to pick from there, but I do see the argument. The Alabama one, though, sorry, Dad, the only reason why they're really in there is because they're Alabama. And I don't think the committee really wants to kick them out like that. Especially, I mean, if you look at the other teams that are kind of on the outside. I mean, you have Miami was 10, but I think that might be too old there. Miami's at 10 there. Then you have almost at 11. So there's a lot of teams that you're like, okay, are these teams better than Alabama, who's, sure they got annihilated, but it's still the SEC and they still are somewhat dominant. So I could definitely see where the hate can, or what the axe to grind comes in there. 3 wins, 3 losses is a lot. That's a lot, especially in college football. That's a lot.
And one of them, Florida State.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that are inexcusable when it comes to this kind of stuff. But from there, it's tough. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's the Alabama privilege.
Alabama privilege, that's fine, except when you have when people are trying. Our good friend Captain Demps, Lieutenant Colonel Captain Demps, his statement. Here, we'll just pull it up here. He says college football cap knows less than baseball cap, but I'm guessing Bama gets the ranking from money.
They're Alabama.
Someone agreed, but my argument is not for a BYU or anyone else. And everyone who I know knows that I am not a Notre Dame guy either. I despise Notre Dame because they're arrogant and they rest on their laurels from 40 years ago. It pisses me off. But the argument is Bama or Notre Dame. And so if we're talking about a draw, ratings-wise, you're trying to tell me Bama's a bigger draw than Notre Dame? I don't see it. The only reason why Notre Dame is able to not join a conference is because they have that draw on NBC. That's the only reason. If they didn't have that kind of TV power standing on their own, they'd have to join a conference already. There'd be no way around it. They wouldn't have any cash flow. So, if it's Bama versus BYU or Bama over Texas or something like that, I get it. But Bama over Notre Dame, as far as a ratings thing, that it just doesn't register with me. I still think Notre Dame, as much as I can't stand them, I still think Notre Dame's a bigger draw. I think they do a bigger audience. They're just a larger fan base. Bama, a lot of the times, is very much regional, right? The South. You have been like in college is different because you do get people that go to this school or whatever, and then they move out somewhere else and
sure
raise more Bama fans out in Oregon or something like that. But by and large, a lot of these teams are regional. Notre Dame is not. Notre Dame's not only national, it's international. So the TV ratings wise thing, I don't support that one. Not at all. Not when it's Notre Dame.
Yeah, I can see that too. I think that at least from a little bit of my recency bias coming in here, but I kind of see Alabama as kind of with rose tinted glasses because of Saban and everything like that. I mean, they own the national stage for the majority of my teen life and everything like that. So I definitely see, in my eyes, there's a larger draw from Alabama than there is from Notre Dame. But this is also coming from a different generational perspective as well, of course. But I think that the sheer weight of the tenure, I guess, for lack of a better term, that Alabama has, I think is like an anchor, and it's going to take a lot to move that anchor out of that bracket there. But I think it saved them once again.
So I complain about it because I think it's wrong. I think they got it wrong. But at the same time, this is exactly what I wanted to happen when they put in this college football system was to punish Notre Dame for not being in a conference.
Yeah,
so it's a yin and yang for me, right? Like there's two sides to the coin. Like I do think they fucked it up,
right?
But it's what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to keep Notre Dame out for this reason. And when I talked about it last week when we were out here. It was at that point when Bama got that kind of garbage win over, albeit their rival Auburn, and they jumped Bama 2 spots. I said it at that point. They're doing it to try to keep Bama in if they lose to Georgia. Now, I didn't think they'd get blown out by Georgia. I thought it would be a closer game. I was hoping for something more along the lines of what we saw when they played each other in September.
Sure.
That didn't happen, right? I figured a close loss, and maybe you can have an argument to keep Alabama in there. They got murdered. And I just 3 losses. They're the only 3-loss team in this bracket. The only one. Everyone else is 2 or less. And it feels wrong. But again, it's kind of what I wanted to happen to Notre Dame. So I can't be too upset about it. I just would like to see them be a little consistent here. I think overall, what things like this are going to force is where you're going to see that 4-4-2-2-1 format with then 3 at large, and we go to 16 teams. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, 4 SEC teams, 4 Big 10 teams, 2 Big 12, 2 ACC, 1 group of 5, and then 3 at large bids to make your 16. That's the 4-4-2-2-1-3. And I think that's the way this is headed. It allows them to expand the playoff pool to 16 instead of 12, right? You can start the thing a little bit earlier. More revenue, more bowl games, all that happy shit goes into it. Now, Notre Dame. Okay, you got left out. So you kick and scream and throw a fit, and we're not going to accept any bowl invitations. You just prove everyone's point who can't fucking stand you, that you're just this elitist group of dickheads that nobody can stand.
Yeah. So one of the things that I went to Temple University, and I went for sports management, sports recreation. And so I took one class there. It's called athletic administration. And the whole class was all about the administrative side of collegiate sports. And one of the things that we learned, a couple cool little Easter eggs, like I wasn't aware of at the time, that a lot of schools actually pay for what they call cupcake teams. To basically, they pay the school a handsome amount of money to play them, and they just demolish them. Basically, an extra like a mid-season preseason game, just to kind of an easy week where they don't have to work too hard. And that's why a couple years ago when Marshall, I forget which team they beat, but they beat some team was a huge upset. That was a cupcake team that they were actually paid to play them, and they ended up beating them anyway, which is really funny.
A lot of them will do it
so-
in state. Like you'll see in Ohio State play the Ohio Bobcats or Miami, Ohio, or something like that to draw revenue for an in-state college. The biggest one was when Michigan got beat by Appalachian State.
Exactly.
That was absolutely fucking hysterical.
Exactly. And so the reason why I bring that up is because another thing that I learned, or I remember from that class, is just how big national coverage for these games are. When Appalachia State beats Michigan, when Marshall wins against whatever team I got, for the life of me, I don't remember who they beat. But whenever those events happen, whenever a small school makes it into the playoffs, make it into the March Madness, it brings lots of applications to the school, lots of students, lots of money into the athletic department. And so for a lot of schools, most schools don't even get black. They don't even make a break even. The 98% of colleges do not make money from athletics. They just do not. Some of the biggest schools that you think make money, they don't. They run in the red. And so those bowl games mean everything to athletic departments. So when you see a school like Notre Dame, listen, I'm not their accountant. I don't see their balance sheet, but I don't know if they are a Georgia. I don't know if they are a Ohio State. I don't know if they are a Michigan. I don't know if they are them. And so seeing they can do whatever they want. It's a free country, but you're putting a lot of money. You're leaving a lot of money on the table by pretty much cutting your nose to spite your face just so you can prove a point. So I hope it's worth it.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And I hope it's not worth it for them. I fucking hate Notre Dame, but this is who they are. This is why people can't stand them. It's the elite. Now, look, they're not the only team that's backing out of bowl invitations, right? There's a lot of them doing it, but Notre Dame, it really does feel like stomping your feet and being a douche. It just does.
Yeah.
All right. So really quick here, and then we're going to take a break.
Sure.
Next Friday night, Alabama. You know what? We could save it for a week and talk this again next week.
Sure.
I think we'll talk about the games next week because there's a bunch of them. I don't want to skip over anything. So let's go ahead and take a break now. I'm going to kick on that shitty music again. So much to everyone's dismay. I don't have that cute little machine that Quimby has where we can just play whatever the hell we want. Maybe someday he'll mail me that, but it's $5,000 last I heard. So I don't think one of those is coming into me. So, folks, stick around. We're going to take a quick 2 or 3 minute break, and then we'll be back. And Mason's going to take the floor, give us a rundown on some studies he's done on some deeper stats as it relates to our NFL Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Stick around, folks. UnHappy in the MP coming right back right after this horrible song. right, kids, coming on back in here. Told you to be quick. So, UnHappy in the MP coming back at you here. Proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. My wife loves when I throw all that shit in. Folks, I just cracked my first beer of the night. I hope you're doing the same. Mason sent me, so we're sharing the screen here. And I'm sure for a lot of you, all of that information is very hard to identify. Although if you take a look at the headers, you can kind of pick out what some of it is. So last week, I asked Mason to come up with a topic that he's passionate about, not just birds related, but sports related. And we're going to use the second segment here for Mason to kind of take us away and show us what his topic is all about. He sent this over to me earlier today. This is a shitload of information. And so, Mason, we talked a little bit pre-show about what this is, when you put it together, and how you would use it. So why don't you educate our audience here on exactly what you do here?
No problem. Absolutely. So when I was in college, I went for sports management, as I mentioned earlier in the show. And my end goal, I wanted to be a scout. And so scouting is very qualitative. It's not something, it's almost like an art, not really a science. And so, but I've always been a very numbers oriented person. And so when I was, trained to be a scout and doing all those types of things, I wanted to marry the two. I wanted to marry the qualitative with the quantitative. I was very blessed at Temple University to have a certain professor. His name was George Deemer. He was a fantastic professor who loved numbers and he loved Excel. And so he really kind of gave me this inspiration because a lot of students have certain pet projects that they have that kind of relate to their field and to their majors. And so I was like, I wanted to do the exact same thing. And so I picked quarterbacks because I have a certain interest in quarterbacks. And so I wanted to look at Pro Bowl quarterbacks to see if I could find a certain statistic or what makes the profile of a Pro Bowl quarterback. So initially I only did like 3 years. So this would have been back in 22. So about from 2022 to 2019. And then from there, I said, you know what? I really wanted to see what 2017 Carson Wentz looked like on here. So I added 18 to 17. Then I said, oh, well, what about...
You're going to touch a hard subject for these folks, man.
But then I also wondered, I said, well, what about Manning in 2013? What does he look like on the graph? So I would add 16, 15, 14, and 13. And I was like, oh, Brady had a really good year in 2011. And so I went all the way back, 2011, 07 Brady, 04 Manning, all the way back to, I believe this 1999 is the earliest year that I go. I tried to do more than 90s.
Gannon. Look at that.
Yeah. So I went all the way back to the early 2000s and even I think 1999. I went as far back as like 1996, 1994 at one point. But at that point, the Excel got so large and the stats were so... It was such a different era that it really wasn't fair to compare Lamar Jackson with Troy Aikman. It really was just two different types of worlds. So I cut it down back to 2000 marks. And the reason why I wanted to bring it in for this show is because the whole theme of the 2025 Eagles and Hurts and the offense has been something's up.
Can I sort this just by Jalen Hurts? Would that make more sense for this?
If you want to sort of, yeah. Sure. Yeah. If you want to sort it by year, hopefully I think Jalen. Yeah, I hope Jalen stays at the top there. At least the current year will. And so I wanted to find out what was going on with Hurts because I know that I have a lot here on Hurts that would be beneficial stats wise. So there's 87 different statistics on this Excel sheet that I made, kind of majority of it's proprietary. And I want to say, okay, where on the heat map is there really cold, really red, and really green? Maybe he's actually doing stuff a lot. So, interestingly enough, despite winning the Super Bowl and being the Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts didn't actually make the Pro Bowl last year. I didn't learn this until just about the other day. I was very surprised and did not know that. And so both Jalen Hurts entries onto this there's 3 of them total. But there's 2024, there's 4 of them. Oh, nice.
Yes.
And so, oh, cool. I don't have that view. That's cool. Yeah, I would love
sort it by the player, dude. Sort it by just by Jalen, and this brings it up for you.
Hold on.
So I do find it interesting. Let me ask a question here real quick.
Sure. Go ahead.
When we get out over here where you've got PTD percentage. I'm assuming that's passing TD percentage.
That is correct.
Versus his overall touchdowns. Correct?
Yep. So how much of his touchdowns are coming from passing touchdowns?
I do find it very, very interesting that as that number went up to 70%, we stink offensively. This kind of goes along with, and we'll get into this in the last segment, but there's a lot of shit here. I think if I'm reading this right, there's a lot of shit here that tells me that basically backs up what I'm going to say in our when we get to the third segment here.
Yeah. And so while numbers may not tell the full story, they tell an objective story because numbers are what happened. Whether or not how it happened is up for debate. Numbers are how things happened. And so you see things like yak there, of course, is yards after catch, but also some other statistics like CAY is actually completed air yards, and then IAY is intended air yards. That's how you get stats like ADOT and ADOC, which is average depth of target and average depth of completion. One thing I was very pleasantly surprised to find out was that this year's Jalen Hurts is much more downfield aggressive than last year's Jalen Hurts, which is very interesting to me. You see, Jalen Hurts makes up a lot of the total yards from the total offense. His interception,
I don't think it's changed. That's always going to be kind of what we do.
Sure. And so one of my kind of favorite metrics I actually made was one to the left on far right to one in is attempts by rush. That's almost like a scrambler metric. So that's how many times it was from the current frame that you were on. Basically how many times they pass it per scramble attempt or per rush attempt. And so for Hurts, it's pretty low. So that means that he's a very active scrambler there. A little bit more to the, it might be a little bit more to the right there, but
which column do I need to
get? Right there. So AN down.
Okay.
If you look at the top there. So you see attempts per rush, that's pretty low. And so that means that Hurts, of course, is a much more scrambling quarterback than average, but that's not breaking news to anybody who watches the Birds on any given day and any given Sunday. So, we see a lot of the standard Hurts is really safe with the ball. His interception percentage is really low, which is really good. You have touches, you have rush yards. So just for me, when I was looking at it as a kind of the creator of the graph, I was very kind of underwhelmed, which in the fact that I was hoping for a lot more starkly telling information. I think that the number one thing that popped out to me the most is the yak per completion number, which is way back in the front. Actually, might be right on the left. Yeah, the very far left. You see that top column is all cold. It's all cold. What does that mean? That means that there's nothing happening relatively after the receivers catch the ball. Once they catch the ball, that's pretty much where the play ends. You see, the year prior, you almost have an entire yard more per pass, per completion after the catch. That tells me at least that the offense is not designed right now for the star players to be star players. It's not made
and it's
for
right there in black and white. So 6.02 is Shane Steichen, 4.89 is Brian Johnson, 5.66 is Kellen Moore, 4.4 is Petullo. Mm-hmm. Those are the years. The cold years are the ones with the shitty coordinator. So I mean, I when you said before that it wasn't really telling. No, I think it paints a perfect picture of exactly what all of us are feeling. Is this fucking offensive coordinator sucks, right? Like it's awful. Like it's just flatlined. It's deadpanned the offense, dude. It's horrible. Like I said, if I'm reading a bunch of this right here, and I think I am, it's obvious.
Yeah.
It is absolutely, it seems obvious to me that this backs up what everyone's worst fear is right now, and that is we're just inept on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm taking a look over on my side right now. If you want to scroll all the way a lot farther to the right there, you see a lot of the more net stats there. So let's see if we see, oh, you got some drop percentage numbers there. That's really good. To
I
see
noticed
that.
that one earlier.
Yeah, that's really good. That's good right there. Adjusted completion percentage, those are our dark red there, so that's not very good, of course. So you have total team yards per game. You have total net yards, which takes into account sack yards there. So a big difference between the 25 Eagles and 24, of course. But then what you see a little bit there on the very far right of that frame right there, you see completions per game and then attempts per game. This goes exactly to what you were saying, you said throughout the season, which is your ideal Goldilocks zone is about low 20s attempts. What do you see? Jalen Hurts, 24 attempts per game and about, was that 16 or 18 completions?
16
completions.
16 and a
half. Compare that
24.1 attempts.
Compare that to this year. You see a Jalen Hurts who has thrown the ball at an astounding 29 times per game, which isn't even the highest on this graph. 23, he throws it 31 times, and I think that's 22, he throws it 30. The touches per game is starting to come down a little bit, though. So in that case, the offensive load's coming down. You have Saquon introduced to the offense, which takes the ball out of his hands a little bit more. There.
But look, it's gone back up this year, right? So like you went 36.6 touches per game last year, back up to 38.3 this year. To me, it tells you they're trying to. The fact that number's dropped so much is they're trying to keep him in the pocket.
So
he's not a pocket passer.
So when I say a touch, not to correct you, I'm just want to give a little bit extra.
No, you're fine.
Here. So a touch here would be a pass attempt, a scramble, or a sack. Any single time he touched the ball remotely, because of course, if he gets sacked, that's not going to count for attempts. And so I wanted to capture every single time he touched the football, what happened, or how many times did he touch the football in an entire game. And so if you scroll a little bit farther to the right, you get to see a little bit more of the interesting information. So you see those total, all those touch categories are very red. Those aren't very good. That kind of implies a very much more methodical offense where you're trying to cut guys down with paper cuts rather than huge shots there. You have total yards per total touchdowns. How efficient are you? Do you go down the field multiple times to score every touchdown? Or are you pretty efficient with that? Can you score a touchdown every 100 yards, or does it take you 200 yards to score a touchdown? And so a lot of these are pretty tame. A lot of greens, which are good. And then you see a lot of whites, which is, emblematic, indicative of middle of the road. Exactly. And so, yeah, if like I said, I kind of went through what I kind of thought I took a lot from the graph. If you had any other large takeaways, you take it away. But yeah, looking at this, I love looking at this kind of stuff, especially with the color and everything like that. But
yeah, no, I like the stoplight metric type of thing. I use that kind of shit at work a lot.
Okay.
Where it shows you, where the biggest thing for me is when you can lay year over year with the same player.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so you have 4 years worth of data on just Jalen Hurts right here. So when you can do that over and over again, like what was it? Like right here, this what is it? Column R, where we talked about
yards per. Yep.
Just look at it. I mean, and you can probably do that across the board on a lot of these things and show that when it was Brian Johnson or Kevin Patullo, those 2 years, I would almost guarantee everything sucks or is not nearly as good. I mean, he's generally always taken pretty good care of the ball. Fumbles can be a problem because he would run around so much.
Sure.
He usually makes good decisions throwing the football. Now, this past Monday night was ridiculous. Oh, you know what? We'll save it for the last segment.
Actually, what's also interesting right here is that if you look at the third row from the top, you see a lot of those lines because you have it actually sorted by year. That's actually a nice little trend line for each statistic on how Jalen Hurts has kind of performed any given year. So you see yards yak per game has gone down precipitously every year of his career, and you see that in the graph right above or third
right
row from the top there. And so you see that graph just shooting down there. You see a lot of those waves. There's no, horizontal line. It's up, down, up, down. And I mean, Jalen Hurts has famously, I don't think he's had a stable, the consistent same offensive coordinator in his life going back to high school, I think it was.
Going all the way back to his freshman year at college. There has been a different play caller
okay.
pretty much every single season. Yeah.
And so you see a lot of that roller coaster with Jalen's stats there. So I think another
when I was looking at this earlier where it was at least somewhat consistent. When you look here, ADOC.
Right.
So 6'1", 6'1", 6 flat, and then 6'7". So what is ADOC again? What
that's
is that?
Average depth of completion.
Average depth of completion. Okay.
And an average depth of target is right next door.
Okay, so he stays pretty consistent in his first year. Well, not his first 3 years, but I mean, 21 was kind of okay, this is your first year as a starter. Let's you're still figuring some shit out. But obviously 22, we exploded. But this number stayed the same, even through Brian Johnson and on to Kellen Moore. It has jumped by 0.7%. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that, I know it doesn't look like much, 0.7%, but when you extrapolate that over the course of an entire season, that turns into a pretty big number overall.
Yeah.
Right? So they look very small when you're just doing percentages, but then when you pull that out for the whole year, it turns into a much bigger number. So I do think it's interesting that as much as we bitch about the route concepts and everything, he is pushing the ball downfield.
Yes.
At a way higher rate this year than he has in any year previous.
And a really big telling point of that is the column S right there. That is the average yards percentage. So what percentage of all the throws that he has, what percentage of that comes through the air? Right there, this year, 60% of his yards come through the air. Just last year, it was 50.
So you see there's another trend that would tell me another trend, though, is that these route concepts probably are shit. And there's no scheme to give these guys room for yak after they catch the ball.
Yeah.
This is interesting stuff, dude. I like this.
And like I said, there's over 200 quarterbacks on that Excel sheet. Over 200.
So if we can here, I'll select everybody again. So if you guys that are watching here, you can scroll down here.
If you want to pick like 2017 Wentz, we can look at him.
But there's 231 lines on this thing. Wentz. All right, let's see where we are. Carson. There he is. Okay. Golly, dude. What a year that was.
Look how aggressive he was.
Hey, he was so aggressive, dude. Look at this. 10 yards.
Yep.
Yeah, that young man was not afraid to push the ball down the field.
And his air yard percentage is 61. His air yards percentage is 61%. Keep in mind, Jalen Hurts was like 59, 60.
Yeah.
So Jalen Hurts is relatively just as aggressive in terms of how he's getting his yards through the air as Wentz was in 2017. That's one of the reasons why I love this graph so much, is because you can make comparisons directly like that. But you also see from that graph how little yak Carson got as well. Very emblematic of Hurts as well. This is not a guy who got all of his yards because his receivers broke tackles and moved the ball down the field. He put it in their hands and they got the yards that way.
Yeah,
7%
this was a
touchdown
special year,
percentage.
man. I know. And we all know it. The kid was the MVP of the league before
Yeah.
that knee injury. But everybody knows
Yep.
it. He was going to beat Brady and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions when he goes down. I'll never
Yep.
forget it. Unfortunately, that was the best we ever saw from him. He never got back to that.
If you have any other players you want to look at as well, we can definitely do that as well. But yeah, I just thought it was very poignant to see Jalen Hurts in terms of how he would look under so much scrutiny with things like this. You know, look at Manning.
Peyton Manning.
So yeah, so the reason why there's a lot of missing data there is because a lot of those advanced stats, like completed air yards, on the websites that at least I use, they didn't start getting measured until 2017.
Yeah.
2017 is when they first made the conception, which really sucks because I would have loved to have seen ADOT and ADOC and
right?
for Manning, especially in 2013. But nonetheless. Oh, so yeah, you see those
56 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. God, he was something else.
Yep.
Well,
and that one,
passing, right?
that one, 55 passing. He had the one rushing touchdown against, I think it was Dallas that year in the bootleg.
5,400 yards, 55 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions. God.
That's sickening.
It's just insanity, dude. I mean, he would just throw the ball. And here's the funny part about Peyton Manning. Did not have a big arm.
No.
Never had a big arm, but he was
if you
smart.
If you want to look at column AO, that is touchdowns per sack. I thought that was another very interesting stat in terms of how explosive your offense is. Because if that can either go one of two ways: is either you get sacked an average amount of times, you just score a shit ton of touchdowns, or you're pretty average with touchdowns and you're just having an amazing offensive line. But you see, he's consistently.
He blended the two. He always had a solid offensive line, but he took full advantage of it.
Yep.
Yeah, we all know Peyton couldn't run worth a shit, so it's not like he was scrambling back there avoiding sacks. He and he knew, like I said, he never had a big arm. Eli had a much bigger arm than Peyton. But Peyton was so smart and so accurate that it just separated him from everyone else except for Tom Brady.
This is another cool little contrast. You see, we talked about AN just recently with Hurts with the attempts per rush. You saw the number for Hurts was around 4, 5. For a pocket passer, you're looking at something that's closer to 25, 26, 21 there. So that is for every single time they usually pass the ball 21 times. Manning did before he ran it once. For comparison, for Hurts, that number was 4. For every 4 times he throws the ball, he runs it.
Every 38.6 pass attempts, Peyton would, take off.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that would be a fun way to look at it too, is if you used, a little bit more historical Brady, Manning, Rivers, guys like that, and laid them over Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, just to show not just the difference.
You can search for it.
Not just the difference, but the trend over time. How the league has evolved to your multi-talented quarterback. Right? That's what everybody wants now. That's somebody who can move the fuck around.
If you want to see some green, if you want to see some green, you want to pull up Warner in 99 or 2000, or you want to see Brady in 07?
Brady. Warner makes me sick.
Brady in 07. You could probably do all of Brady, honestly.
Brady in 07 is right here. Oh, yeah, it's his 50 touchdown season. Yep. 50 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's insane, dude.
Oh, and that little green slice up there, I want to say it's got to be 2014. Yeah, that's got to be 2014 right there. The little green stripe. The little green stripe up there. Yeah.
Right here. Yeah.
That's 2014. Yeah, 20-2.
2016.
Or 2016, my bad. 2016. Yeah. That was after the suspension from the league.
When he came back pissed off.
Yeah, he's 28-2.
Yeah, he was angry when he came back.
No, he was fucking furious.
Watching him and Manning go at it was just such a. I mean, I couldn't stand the Patriots, but watching those games was just such a joy as a football fan.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they were just incredible contests, man. I mean, most of the time the Patriots got the better of them, but
one thing that's kind of interesting,
watch those two go at it was crazy.
At the very bottom there, in the bottom right corner, you see a lot of that red. You can actually see Brady mature as the years went on. It goes red, dark red, white, and then eventually to green. I think that's a neat little development in over time there. But if you want to really go to the right and you go to some of the touch kind of statistics, I mean, you're going to see a ton of green.
He's a child here. 01,
oh
02,
yeah.
04, 05. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're already winning Super Bowls. It was much more about that defense back then than it was Brady's arm. And then 07, 08 is when you end up with Randy Moss. Yep, that's when everything changed.
Yeah. And you will see that pretty sure. I'm almost positive we'll see that reflected here.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, it's all over the place. Everything jumps. He's all red, white, couple greens, but once you get to this season here, everything jumps.
Oh yeah. If you want to keep going to the right there. There you go.
Completion percentage jumps almost 6 points.
Oh yeah.
with Moss. Yeah. Yeah, this is cool stuff, man. I'm gonna hang on to this. This is pretty fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
my friend Roger would love this shit. Roger comes into the room every so often. He would absolutely love this stuff. I love all this kind of shit. Like, if people call me a dork, I'm like, I don't care. I love all this kind of shit. I do. I always have. Like, I would try to have these conversations with my. I would try to have these conversations with my buddies, and they look at me like I've got an eyeball growing out of my forehead.
Oh yeah, and
I know the information's all out there for you guys. It's,
it is. I used Pro Football Reference for the vast majority of it, but for the more advanced stats, I use a website called SIS Data Hub, which is just Sports Info Solutions. It's a niche kind of a company, but SIS Data Hub, the amount of information and stats that they have is absolutely mind-numbing. That's where I have the completed air yard stuff, everything like that comes from them. They've been incredibly helpful. If you want to do one more guy who I know absolutely lights up with green here is Warner in the Greatest Show on Turf year, the year that they went all the way.
A lot of turnovers with that freaking team, but God, they lit the scoreboard up. Man.
Yes, they did. I got a couple years there. Cool.
Look at this fucking thing, dude. Team total yards 7,075. It's just stupid, dude. Look at it. 41 touchdowns. Look at all the interceptions, dude. I mean, he threw a lot of picks. That team turned the ball over at an insane rate. You just could not. That was the only way to stop them from scoring, was you had to get the turnover. That's why there's still so much red. Because the dude, like, they were erratic, but they were just. I mean, Isaac.
When Bruce, they hit.
Oh my God! Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk. I mean, they were. That's why they called them the Greatest Show on Turf.
Look at all that green right there too. Completions per touchdown.
Every 8 completions was a fucking touchdown.
Yep.
For a whole year.
Yep.
It's absolutely nuts.
Yep.
Jesus. That's fun. All right.
And another. Oh, look at that one. Sure, look at the green bars there. Total yards per turnover. They got 300 yards. You saw how red the turnovers were, the turnover metrics. Each turnover gave them 300 total yards of offense.
Yeah.
per one turnover. And by the way, he had 13 receptions.
Keenan Hartman, Adam's stripper name is Dork Gilmore. Keenan Hartman, let's see success on RPO. That is a nice way to bring us to our next break, which when we come back, we're going to talk about this fucking Eagles offense this year and all the fun we're going to have with that. Mason, I like this stuff. This was fun. This is the kind of shit I'm into, man. So I'm going to hang on to that because it'll be good talking
No
points,
problem. Please
sure.
do.
Yeah,
Please
I like
do.
it, man. All right. I'm going to go grab a beer and we'll come back after another shitty generic. So here, we're going to use a different one here. Hopefully we don't put you to sleep on this, but UnHappy in the MP coming right back at you. Final segment coming up where we are going to talk about the birds. And oh God. See you in a couple minutes, folks. Hang tight. All right, folks. Holy shit. That was that might have been worse than the rock one. We'll try not to play that one again. Welcome on back. UnHappy in the MP. Still trying to figure out the music situation while we take breaks here. Because StreamYard does not give you a whole lot of options. I promise you that. If there were better options, folks, I would play them for you. I used to try to get these little insignia speakers out and do it that way, but sometimes it's choppy. Doesn't really sound all that great. So we'll just go with the house sound. Okay. So we squander another opportunity to lower our magic number and really take control of the division, right? Magic number should be 2 right now with 4 left to play, right? And for anybody that doesn't know what the magic number is, it works the same way as baseball. Any combination of Eagles wins or Dallas losses lowers that number for us, okay? Right now, that number with 4 left to play, that number is 3. That's a little nerve-wracking with the way this team's been playing on the offensive side of the football. Defense, no troubles, right? Nice rebound. Didn't allow Omari and Hampton to go berserk on us. The Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Phillips, all over.
Yep.
All over his ass on Monday night with that beat up
Herbie
hand.
fully
They were
loaded.
taking shots at him all night long at Justin Herbert. That was excellent. But this offense, Mason, my personal opinion is, and you and I have beaten this to death for weeks now because it's really been the glaring subject when you talk about the Birds, right? This has been the problem. I believe that this idiot, I don't believe he's trying to run an offense that the roster was built for. Okay. Yeah. He has an offense and he's trying to pigeonhole these dudes into it. This roster was not constructed to run this way. And when you do it like this, you fuck everything up. All right.
Yeah.
There's just, to me, there's just not much other way to look at it. There's no other excuse. Otherwise, things would have gelled by now. Right? We're going into our 14th game of the season here. And we still don't have an identity on the offensive side of the ball. They're trying to make Jalen Hurts a pocket passer. Jalen Hurts is not a pocket passer. We are once again near the bottom of the league in motion on our offense, right? Motion, what's the number one thing motion does? It helps you tip the defense. Are they playing man? Are they playing zone? Keep the defense a little bit more honest. We've completely abandoned any kind of RPO, which keeps your linebackers a little bit more honest, right? Because now they don't know who's going to get the ball. Is it Saquon? Is it Barkley? Or Tank Bigsby or whoever in the backfield? Instead, it's just Jalen dropping back. Or on the run play side, it's just, here's the shotgun snap. Here's Saquon, A-gap. Go figure it out. Right? Like, this is not how this works. The shitty route concepts on the outside. Now I get, what the report shows is that he is trying to push the ball downfield. And he may very well be, but it's not efficient. It's not been efficient. They also seem to be falling in love with certain plays. I don't know if you've seen this, but that little, where Goddard tries to make it look like he's going to pass block or run block and then tries to leak out into the flat. They're running that thing 3-4 times a game now. And that's the play they ran at the end of the game on Monday night. And the Chargers were ready for it. And Jalen, instead of just throwing the ball away or trying to run, throws an absolutely horrible ball again. And it costs us the football game. All of these reasons stacked on each other is why you're seeing the offense struggle like it is. Jalen, to me, has looked uncomfortable in this offense right from the opening bell. Yeah. He's looked unsure of what he's supposed to do. Am I supposed to run? Am I supposed to stay here? He's looked uncomfortable. And I don't really see where when you run the RPO, the linebackers have to respect it, right? They have to treat that. Give me some route concepts behind that sort of play that can open up a window bigger than normal in the middle of the field. We all know Jalen doesn't see the middle of the field well. Everyone knows it. But if you scheme and you take a look at what I'll use San Francisco as the perfect example. Does anybody here think Brock Purdy's a great quarterback? I understand his stats have been great, but do you really think he's a great quarterback, or do you think he's just playing in a really great system? I lean towards the latter. And if you watch a San Francisco 49ers game, look at the windows that this kid is throwing the ball into. That is offensive play design. The Rams, same thing. Offensive play design. And I'm not expecting everyone to be a Shanahan or a McVay. Okay? Sure. But Kellen Moore did a damn fine job of this last year. Shane Steichen did an excellent job of it a few years ago. So it can be done. What we saw in your graph is a trend of they're trying to keep him in the pocket instead of just instead of devising a scheme around what he does well. They're trying to pigeonhole him into what they want him to do.
That's no, I think that's a great point. I think when you made your earlier point about pigeonholing him into the certain vision of an offense, I think that a really beautiful contrast to that, and that's why I'm really actually glad that we actually looked at Wentz on that graph, because the very front of that graph was almost nearly identical to Hurts. I'm talking about the air yards percentage. I mean, Wentz was 61, Hurts was 60. For yak per completion, Wentz was in the fours. He was not much better than Hurts was. But we all know that 2017 offense was absolutely on fire. So what is the problem in that regard then? It is exactly what you said. It is the offense being made for something other than what he has. And I mean,
There's no
when you see
creativity at all.
there's no creativity, you see Hurts being extra aggressive than he normally is. His average depth of completion was sky high there. And I'm looking at the game right here. Third down efficiency, 4 for 13. That's not win. You can't win. You can't win like that.
Been like that all year.
Yards per play, we actually outgained them by a whole yard and a half in that respect, which is interesting. Total drives, we had one extra drive actually than them. Passing yards, we lapped them over 103. Rushing yards were pretty close. The problem,
Saquon had a nice night. Even before the break, even before he busted the big run, he was already having a pretty decent night to that point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And where is it? Oh, here's a really telling stat right here. Jalen Hurts was sacked once for 9 yards, 9-yard loss. We got to Herbert 7 times. Seven times.
Glorious.
7 times. And that's pretty much all you can really ask for a defense, especially when it comes to causing 2 fumbles and getting an interception to count. The only problem is that you can hold an offense to 106 passing yards. Herbert had a 12 for 26 completion percentage. He was less than 50%.
His pass rating was
yards per rush, 4.4. The only problem is that it's kind of hard to win football games when your offense turns the ball over 5 times. That's a pretty 2-on-1 play. I'll give you that, but it's 4 real turnovers.
There's my favorite stat. Jalen Hurts is the first player since 1978 to be charged with an interception and a lost fumble on the same play. Just to give you an example, to give you how old that is, it's 1 year older. The last time it was done was a year before I was born. Look,
so
we can talk about the play calling and Patullo and everything all we want, and we're absolutely right on that. I think everyone who is look, we talked about the eggs in this house. That's probably a little egregious. We all get it, but everyone with the hate and vitriol towards Patullo is 100% correct. The one thing I will say is it does not excuse the terrible passes that Jalen threw on Monday night. He was awful on Monday night. Now, he made a couple of decent throws. Don't get me wrong. AJ's drops did not help.
No.
But overall, Jalen was not good on Monday night. That last pass, and maybe he's just trying to make something happen. But he's got to recognize that at that point, you've got the game tied. You're already. It's not like Jake would have had to make a long field goal from that spot, right? Your points are on the board, right? You're gonna at least tie the game. Just be smart. And he makes a horrible decision to throw that ball to Dotson. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert has a QBR of 33.1, except there's only the other side had a worse QBR. Jalen Hurts has a QBR of 27.
Yeah, well, you throw 4 interceptions. I mean, it's pretty rough.
Barkley, though,
as much as we beat up Herbert, he only did throw the 1 pick. Now he fumbled twice and lost one of those too, but he did only throw the 1 interception.
It's very telling to me. First of all, Saquon finally kind of had his breakout-ish game. He had 20 carries for 122 yards. His longest was 52, so you got that. But it seems like every single time A.J. Brown gets 100 yards, we lose the game.
Yeah, and you know what else you don't see? You don't see him complaining anymore. I touched on this last week when we were here, too. He isn't complaining anymore.
Do you think those two are connected?
I don't know. My friend Josh.
Those two are connected?
Look, man, my friend Josh would tell you, and he's not wrong, that AJ himself said he wasn't going to talk about it anymore. It just seems awful convenient that you don't want to talk about it anymore now that you're getting your numbers and we're losing football games. This is a team that just a few weeks ago was 8-2 with a 21-0 lead against the Cowboys. You're not that far removed from that right now. And since that point, it has been a wreck on the highway. It's like you can't take your eyes off it. Like, it's just like, I don't know what is happening here. Offense already was terrible, inconsistent, and terrible for most of the year. These last few weeks have been brutal. Just absolutely brutal. Like,
and that's why I think that I feel like I said this last week that it's so funny when it's off with this team. It always feels like the next game is the game that has to decide everything. Like, okay, well, that game was big, but next game is actually because you have all these different factors that force a result here. And then when that game comes, you're like, okay, well, actually, it's next week that you see this. You're versing the Raiders. Okay. If you can't put some
points at home
on the board against the Raiders at
the Kenny
home,
Pickett Raiders, Raiders.
You cannot do something on the Raiders. We do not deserve to win to make it to the playoffs at that point. It is a 2023 type collapse, and it's just another season. It's just a slow torture where we hope that it's not, but we also know what the actual end game is going to be. We know it's going to happen, but we still have that dire hope that it's going to turn around somewhere. But I mean,
because
sometimes it feels like
because we've seen this team be so good. You know, we've seen it, and the talent level is there. We all know it. Everyone knows what the issue is. Why they haven't corrected it at this point, I don't know. You know, look here, and I've been a leader in the facilities that I've worked in and ran for quite some time now. And the way I look at my floor supervisors and guys like that is I tell them, look, you know, this guy, and this guy are underperforming. All right. I need you to correct their behavior. And I expect that person to go out and do that. If you don't do it, eventually it's on you. Right. And that's the way I look at these guys. Like, look, this guy's struggling. We're not getting what we need out of him. I need you to go find a way to motivate him, or, you know, he's going to have to understand that, you know, disciplinary action and all that sort of shit that goes on in the real world. Liken that to the Philadelphia Eagles. Howie Roseman at some point has got to have a conversation, or if he hasn't already, I'd be shocked, with Nick Sirianni. Same sort of conversation. You have got to hold that guy accountable, meaning Patullo, because if you don't, eventually it's going to be your ass, not his. Right? Like, that's the way it has to be treated. And I'm not sitting here advocating to fire Nick. I don't want anybody misunderstanding what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is the head coach is responsible for his coordinators. Everyone leaves Vic Fangio alone. I think maybe because they're afraid of him. He just stays up in his box and runs the defense. And the defense kicks ass, and nobody, you don't have to say a word.
No one asks questions.
Right. Just leave me the fuck alone. But this Patullo offense has been so brutal that if Nick isn't going to hold him accountable, truly hold him accountable, if he's going to be wishy-washy like he was in 2023, this would now be the second time that this same series of events happens. And at some point, Bubby, you're the problem, right? You're not part of the solution anymore. You're part of the issue. And that's, you know, so like I said, I mean, it's obviously a much different arena. You know, I'm
sure
paying supervisors $25 an hour while, you know, offensive coordinator lives in a fucking mansion in South Jersey. But, you know, but it's the same concept. The leader has to hold his people accountable. And if he doesn't, then the leader is the one that's under fire. That's what happens. So I can appreciate shielding your guys, right? You want to take none of the credit and all of the blame until such point that the blame becomes detrimental to the overall organization. And then you have to make a change. And that's what's not happening.
Yeah. And everything is all good when you're still winning games. Your offense can be bad when you beat the Packers by 3 points, 10-7, and you know, the Lions by, you know, not much more. But once that stat starts to come up and that defense doesn't always hold the Lions to 10 points or the Packers to 7, the offense, the problems of the offense, and I'll give him a little bit of credit here, as Brown did say, you're not going to be able to do this forever. The defense is not going to be able to be the 2000 Ravens or the 2013 Seahawks or the 2015 Broncos for an entire season. It's just not going to happen.
2022 Eagles.
Or that. So you need to be able to carry your own weight. And now that our defense is starting to slip, and they're human, so it's going to happen.
Yeah, the Bears
we're being exposed. Yep. Yeah. The Bears exposed us, and then our offense just completely lost the game for the defense. It was, you don't throw 4 picks and only lose the game by 3.
No.
Typically. In the NFL, you do not do that.
No, typically we should have gotten run out of the building.
Yep.
We should have gotten run out of the building, and it didn't happen. I was scared when they came out that Jalen Carter had to have that surgery, and I'm looking at it like, fuck, Marion Hampton's back with this. After what the Bears had done to us, I'm like, dude, Hampton's going to have a field day. 13 carries for 56 yards is all that kid had. That was it. The defense more than did its job. Honorable mention, Adoree Jackson. First real nice game season, right? And how about Cooper on McConkey? McConkey was suffocated every time he was in the slot.
I didn't hear him say my name.
Cooper he's the best slot corner in football. I am not afraid to say he's the best slot corner in football. And the best part about him is he can hybrid as a safety and a small linebacker in different spots too.
He's a big boy.
He hits like a truck. The kid is a phenomenal athlete. He has been, as advertised, excellent out of Iowa. It's a lot of fun to watch. Watch him. He had McConkey bottled up, dude. Like that kid, every time McConkey's in the slot, and McConkey's a slot guy, no chance. Cooper had him bottled up. Glad McConkey, 5 targets, 1 catch, 12 yards. That's his whole stat line. Yeah. Coop. Jordan Davis stepping up as a big leader with Jalen Carter out, right? Davis had a huge night. Nakobe Dean, huge night. Now I get it. He missed the way he had Herbert dead to rights on that one and missed the sack, and it ended up actually being a big play. But I mean, he ain't gonna get him every time. And Dean was excellent on Monday night. The defense overall was unbelievable.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to diagnosing the entire game, you look at everything, and then you look at this Sunday, we have the Raiders at home, and it's man, I get so scared. I actually called the game. I'm gonna not to pat my own back here, but I did say Chargers by 3.
You did. I remember.
So in that light, I mean, geez, it's the Raiders, is at home, but we also kind of said the same thing about the Bears. So there's really
but the Bears are actually good.
The Bears are pretty good.
The Bears are a good football
man.
team. The Raiders are not. The Raiders stink. Okay, the Raiders flat out stink. And now Geno's out. Right? Is that official yet? I was waiting for the.
I don't know if that's official.
I'm gonna think now and just see.
This team, this offense. I'm trying to think of what my guts tell me here, what the stars are telling me here.
Your gut's afraid. That's the problem.
I think I want to be able to say we should score 24 points. That's what I want to say. And the fact that I say I want to say, I'm not sure if it's even a possibility. This team is so bipolar. It's crazy. We'll put up 21 straight in Dallas, and then we'll put up 15 at home. It's ridiculous back and forth here. So I think
what everybody's afraid of is the same thing, is losing to this horrible team. Because what's going on in your head right now is the Giants game, the first Giants game. That's what's going through your head right now. Oh my God, if we lose this fucking game.
Watch us lose to the Raiders, but beat the Bills by 10. I swear it's gonna happen. We're gonna lose to the Raiders, and then we're gonna like demolish the Bills because that's exactly what this team would do. Now, I think
we can't lose to the Raiders, dude.
I think Raiders. I think 27-10.
27-10. Who's winning this game?
I think we should. We should.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if you see a really stupid score like 17-14 Raiders that's really sloppy and it's ugly and it's messy and then we just lose. And that's how we had to go the rest of our Sunday.
So it's Kenny Pickett. It's Kenny Two Gloves starting for the Raiders. Like there's even less of an excuse now, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's a revenge game.
Win this football game.
It's a revenge game.
You have to win. You got to win this fucking football game. 3-game losing streak. Okay. The Dallas loss was embarrassed. Was horrible, that collapse. The Bears loss we got mauled, pushed around the field. And then the Chargers, Jalen was just terrible.
Yep.
And I don't need them to come out and score 40 points. I would love for that to happen and just put it to bed early. I don't need that to happen. And here's what I want. I want a Birds win that doesn't have me in an afternoon full of cardiac fucking arrest. That's all I want.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I don't care if we're up a ton. I need it to be the feeling that we're done. If we're just dominating the game without dominating the scoreboard, I'm okay with that. That's what the Bears did to us. That game, we were only down one score for like three and a half quarters. But it felt like we were down by 3 touchdowns because we were just getting pushed around. I'm okay with that type of game. Be in control all game long against this horrible Raiders team. They're awful. I feel bad for Brock Bowers because I think that kid's a stud. And he's locked into this Mark Davis ran piss poor franchise where they thought that Geno Smith was going to be the next Messiah. I mean, the Raiders are terrible. They're just awful, and there's no light at the end at the end coming for them either. They're not good, and they're not going to be good. And they're stuck in a division where Kansas City is going to continue to be a pain in the ass. Denver is now a huge pain in the ass, and the Chargers ain't going away anytime soon either. So the Raiders could actually get better this offseason and still look just as bad. Have to win this game at home against the fucking Raiders, dude. I can't. If we lose this game to the Raiders at home, I'm going to come on here next week and throw an absolute fit. Like, I'm talking full on.
Philly might burn.
Throwing shit around my living room type of fit.
Dude, if you thought eggs were bad, lose on Sunday.
Okay,
if you thought eggs were bad, lose on Sunday.
Lose and let the offense look the way it has against that bad Raiders team. He's going to get more than eggs thrown in his house. I guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee. And I'm not condoning it or advocating for it.
I condemn.
Not condoning or advocating for it. I'm just saying it's going to happen.
I'm just saying. I'm only speaking the truth here. All right. I'm not endorsing anything.
Let's grab Keenan's question here real quick. Then we'll get some final thoughts and get out of here. Keenan, can you tell me why Tyler Steen is standing straight up pre-snap? Any thoughts on that one?
Could be a tell thing. Yeah,
it's a communication thing. It is.
I will say a lot of teams have different ways of notifying the center, especially on the road. It's going to be a silent count type thing. And so he may stand up. It's kind of maybe it's just a peripheral thing for the center before he gets set, and then he might hit Juergens, and then they snap the ball. Unless I'm in the room, I wouldn't really be able to know. But I'm sure that he's not setting up looking stupid for no reason.
It's absolutely a communication thing. I get where Keenan's going with this, though. I don't think it's so much the standing up thing as it is the fact that he's not only standing up, but he's not facing forward. He's kind of over here listening to Jalen. So
yeah, well, I think he's watching Jalen. He's watching Jalen. Jalen says, "Okay, I'm ready," and then Steen gets set. He goes, then he hits Juergens, and then they set the ball.
So if you watched Becton last year, he would do a lot of that too. You would see him kind of wave his towel behind Juergens, right, before the ball would get snapped. And that was kind of the visual kind of thing. Okay, but but I do think what Keenan's more getting at is I'm here, and then I get to here, and as soon as I'm here, the ball snapped. So I think the concern, and Keenan, you tell me if I'm right or wrong here. I think your concern is he's not really locked into the defender coming at him when he turns, right? It kind of feels rushed for Tyler Steen at that point. Is that the concern? Because if that's the concern, it's not the first time I've heard or read that. I don't know how much I agree with it. And I think Tyler Steen's actually played pretty well this year in a year where our offensive line has been banged up a lot. But I do get the optics of it and the fact that Saquon has had such a hard time getting going. It kind of lends itself to look like, oh, shit, are we really doing what we're supposed to be doing up front?
Yeah, and I will say that teams get very creative with their silent counts, so I really wouldn't put much into that.
Whoa, you did not try to say our offense got creative with anything, did you? That's
not. So I will, it's these guys are paid tens of millions of dollars, and they've been getting set fast their entire life. If you look at half the centers in the league, they snap their head down a second before the ball is snapped. If you don't think that takes their eye off the defender for a split second, and you don't think a split second would matter between them and a 300-pound defensive tackle, I think you should take that into consideration as well. These guys do this all the time. I think that Steen under Statland is more than equipped to look back at Jalen, get set, and then have the ball snapped at a moment's notice. So I think we pay him handsomely enough. I think he's more than capable.
I would agree with you, but it does look like that. It looks like what I was assuming was right. The concern is he have time to get set? Hey, look, Keenan, I don't think either of us are arguing with you here. It's just I think it's more. I think what we're looking for. I think we're trying to reach for reasons why else this offense is having so much struggles. And really, there's really no other place to look than Kevin Patullo. Right. I mean, look, so I guess you could make the argument, look, Lane Johnson's been out. Dickerson keeps getting hobbled. Juergens has missed time. It's been a little banged up on the offensive line. Toth has not been good filling in for these dudes. So and then you see the pressure come up the middle. And if you don't watch that very spot all the time, it can lead you to believe that both guards are really having a hard time. And so when you see that last second kind of the optics can make
it get it, like, yeah.
You know what I mean? I totally understand.
No, I get it.
But I Mason and I think we're on the same path here. It's like these dudes have been around a while. Right. It's not like Tyler Steen went to some shit college, right? I'm pretty sure he came out of Bama.
No, he's Bama.
Was Tyler Steen? Yeah,
he's a Bama boy.
Right. Yeah, these dudes have been
coached. And he's coached by
like NFL
Statland.
players. Yeah, they've been coached by they've been getting coached as if they were NFL players since they were in high school. So, the amount of snaps and everything these guys have faced, I don't think that's an issue, but I do get the optics of it when your offense is having this much trouble.
Doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Keenan Pickett is the starter. Yep. Yes, he is. Let's see. Did we miss anything? No, not a whole lot of noise from the room tonight. I think we carried it pretty well when you football cap knows less. Cap cracks me up. All right. Final thoughts. Let's get out of here.
Final thoughts. I mean, this is the end of the road in terms of excuses for why this past game wasn't the game that we should really care about. This is a really bad Raiders team. And like you said, we're coming off 3 straight losses. And the offenses look precipitously worse each time. And so this is kind of like, okay, we are literally going to give you a cupcake at home. Sure, it's a little cold. It's not 70 degrees, but deal with it, okay? Score some points. Start some point. Oh, by the way, last week when I told you I hadn't gotten frost by windshield, guess what I got the exact next morning? Nice layer of frost right on my windshield.
Stick it in my face. It's called karma, dude.
This is a game where we gotta put out. If we don't, I mean, the season is a lot harder to salvage, and at that point, we start to really consider whether or not Dallas deserves it more than us. If we don't score at least 20, the real number should be 30. If we don't score 30, but this is an Eagles offense, we've seen the Eagles this entire year. If we don't score 20, we don't deserve to make it to the playoffs. We don't.
I am on board with that. I'm on board with that, dude. 100%.
So it should be 27-10. It should be 27-10, but it's probably going to be something like 21-14.
I unfortunately fucking agree. I'm going to back up some of your sentiment here. The margin for error is gone. Okay. You can look at cupcakes and be like, okay, Raiders are a cupcake. Washington's not good, right? Jaden Daniels has been banged up all year. He's fucking hurt again. So 3 of our last 4 games are against really bad football teams as far as the 2025 season is concerned. You have one tough game, and that's at Buffalo. Well, if you go over and take a look at Dallas' schedule, they're home for Minnesota. Minnesota stinks. Then they're home for the Chargers. Now, the Chargers are good, but Dallas gets them at home in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dallas finishes up the year at Washington and at the Giants. So they also have 3 cupcakes and a tough one. I would tell you the schedule overall, it probably favors the Cowboys, considering they get their tougher game at home while we got to go to Buffalo and now play a Bills team that, God forbid, if they lose to the Patriots this weekend, that Bills team is going to need that game really, really bad. And we are going to be, all of us as Eagle fans have to be Bills fans this weekend. 1, just because we still hate the Patriots, and that's never going to go away. But 2, we want Buffalo to win a couple games here and hopefully maybe get locked into a playoff spot by the time we have to go up there. As far as this game is concerned, I 100% agree. The measuring stick should be 30 points.
Yeah.
30 points by the offense. Let's start there. If the defense scores a touchdown, fuck you. You need offense. You didn't score that. 30 points by the offense should be the measuring stick.
And if Elliott kicks like a 55-yard field goal, that also does not count. That also does not count.
Doesn't count. Chip shot field goal is fine. But no settling for field goals. You don't win in this league without field goal, without touchdowns. You got to get the ball in the end zone. So I agree. The measuring stick should be 30 points. Do I think we're going to get there? No, I don't. I think 24 is probably the high water mark. But I'm looking more at like a 21-10, 21-13, maybe 21-14. I just need to win the football game. Okay? Without the cardiac arrest. Without the cardiac arrest. Dominate the game however the hell way you want to. But suffocate them because they stink. Take advantage of it because they stink. Win the game because they stink and you're at home. And Kenny Two Gloves is their starter this weekend. Right? You have to win this football game. Your margin for error is
unbelievable.
Gone. And I'll back that up again. Look, in 2023, everybody likes to make these comparisons right now because of what's going on. Keep in mind, in 2023, we already had 10 wins. We were pretty much locked into a playoff spot. We're sitting at 8 wins right now. That doesn't guarantee. So if you lose out from here, you're not
even at a guaranteed winning record yet.
Nope. You lose out from here, you're a losing record. You're not in the playoffs. And at that point, there may need to be questions about who's running this team. At that point, it would be on the table. A playoff berth,
arguably,
a playoff berth and an opening round win, I think, excuses Nick of everything.
Arguably, if we close out the year with losses, you might be looking at one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers of all time.
All time.
You don't even make the playoffs. You don't even make the playoffs.
With all that talent. The roster's the same except for Mekhi Becton. Pretty much. I mean, you're going to have subtle changes with the depth and all that stuff. I get it. But your overall roster is pretty much the same with the exception, your starters, with the exception of Mekhi Becton and the CB2 spot. But the defense is not the problem. It's not as bad as that CB2 spot has been. It's been the offense that's been the issue. And the offense has only had one major change. And that was Mekhi Becton to Tyler Steen. And we were going to have to figure out what Steen was made of sooner or later anyways. Yep. Keenan. We're getting some snow Saturday night and Sunday morning. All right, before we get out of here, I don't want to hear anything shit about your cold weather or your snow. Let me give you a rundown of what's happening here. We got last week, they called for 2 to 3 inches of snow. We got 6. That was unpleasant when I went out the door in the morning. Tomorrow, we have another major snow event, 4 to 6 inches. Sunday's high temperature here. Anybody want to take a guess? 14. That's the high temperature here. I am 46 years old, and with each passing year from about 38 on, I have hated the cold more and more every year. This weekend is not going to help. It's not going to do anything. It'll just piss me off. But I think Mason and I are pretty much on the same page. We think 30 should be the line. It's probably
it should
more
be,
like
man.
21 to 24.
It should be.
It should. The Raiders stink. They're fucking awful. They should bury this team, especially at home in Philadelphia. But they're not going to do it. It'll be another afternoon full of.
This team was once 8. This team was once 8-2.
8-2 with a 21-0 lead. 8-2 with a 21-0 lead. Where if you finish that off, and then Dallas perhaps loses to Kansas City on Thanksgiving, we would have been playing against the Bears on Black Friday with a chance to clinch the division. That was just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Now it's doomsday. The bottom's falling out. You're either going to get right this week or mail it in. That's kind of the way I see it. Because from here, even though Washington's been bad, it's still a division game. They're going to get up to play against us. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Buffalo in
They're
between.
playing
And
spoiler.
Buffalo, sure
They're a divisional opponent. The divisional opponent, they're going to play spoiler because they don't like us. If there's ever a team in the schedule to roll over and take it, it'd be the Raiders. If we lose against the Raiders, you think Washington's just going to let us just go to the playoffs like that? Absolutely.
Yeah, the Raiders mailed it in like week 6. They've been cooked all year. Like, if you can't go and blow this team out, it's a disaster. God forbid lose to them. You lose to them, you can just mail the season in at that point.
No, it's
okay. Yeah. All right. We're going to get out of here, folks. Come on back again next week where we will take a look at that first round of college football playoff. All right?
Yep.
We saved that. Didn't do that in the front half. We'll do that next week. And hopefully we're talking about the Birds getting back on track against a very, very terrible Raiders team heading into Philly. Until then, kids, enjoy your weekend. Stay warm. Stay dry. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. Remember, the judge is not back in until Monday. And as always,
go Birds.
Go Birds. You know what? We put enough of that music tonight. Take care. We love you.
Take care. Take care.